Okay, well, I've been talking to myself for 10 minutes and we have been going through this boxed York JCB863, which comes complete with some sums on the top. Inside there we've got the destruction book, a microphone and everything as you'd expect originally, like the bracket. So on the video, which I didn't record because I'd not got a memory card in, we've actually gone through the parameters. It's doing 2.93 and 3 watts, getting 125 milliwatts on low power. On full power, getting 952 milliamps current consumption. Initial indications of deviation look about 1.4. Frequency slightly low at 79096, and then with the frequency dialed in exactly, we've got 0.25, 0.3, 0.56. Got squelch threshold at 0.3, but the tight is 24 microvolts, which is lousy. We had no transmit on channel 40 initially, so it's quite possible the VCO is slightly out. As the set's warmed up, it started working on channel 40. The meter is about right on transmit, and it's being as tight as anything on receive. So that's just compressed 10 minutes of video into 2 minutes of spiel. So with that in mind, we'd better start with the VCO. So I'll select channel 40, and connecting that to the earth strap, we will look at, do you know what, there's no hole where, oh, where's my other glasses? There's no hole where that's been prodded. So the wax must be put in after alignment. It's not often I see that. So on receive we've got 4.16, so it needs to be 4, but that isn't the issue. That's the wrong way. I mean, that didn't need adjusting, but we will just for the video. Transmit 3.68, slightly low, but not so low as I'd expect it to not transmit on channel 40. So that's transmit now at 4, that's receive now at 3.97. Might just be able to touch that. Transmit, receive. So while we're doing this, let's just do the frequency. Put up the frequency counter on the inset picture. That's channel 40. Try channel 20. Spot on. And let's try channel 1 on the VCO voltage. Was it 1.7 to 2.3, something like that? That's our receive, that's our transmit, that's satisfactory. Right. Just to excite you, we've got another York 863 coming today. We'll be servicing that on Tuesday. The road trip this week is Wednesday will be to Lowestoft. Well, I say that nearby anyway. Will I sit on the beach, do you think? Okay, let's look at our transmit. So we're on channel 20. Let's see whether we can get 4 watts out of this one. So remember, the manufacturer says these do 3.8 watts. But during servicing you're supposed to be able to achieve 4.4. Okay, so we're now on the... Go back to camera 1, show the main meter, and what we're looking for, of course, is the centre of the peak on these 3 coils. That definitely was okay. And that was definitely okay. And that was definitely okay. So we'll move forwards to these. These 3 now we go for peak. I unkey in between because the transmitter will go beyond what it's capable of doing, and I don't want to generate smoke or melt any coils. So this is at the moment doing 4.6. The next one for peak, 4.6. Third one for peak, bang on the 5. I've just got to go through them again, and with it at that level, just check the final of these 3 again. So as I've said loads of times, legality aside, because we're allowed 4 watts and this radio is now doing 5, never ever leave it in service position. It will be dead in half an hour. I paid about 300 quid for our boxed Midland 77-900, and when I went through the servicing on that, I did this on video. It's not the one we show in the video. I've got one in a box in here, but I did show it on the video. It was left in service mode at full whack, and that really, I think the phrase is, it pissed me off, because all these coils will melt. Perhaps these people think they're doing you a favour. Imagine taking your car. Yeah, we've revved it up to full until the engine's fallen off. Right, so now we turn this one clockwise for 4.4 watts. This balances the PA power amplifier, not public address. And then we drop it to 4 watts anti-clockwise with the green one. The manufacturer says we drop it to 3.8 watts, but in fact I'm putting it to 4 watts when the set will do that, because that's the legal limit. They have to get it through customs, I don't. Okay, so we'll now check it on channel 40 and channel 1, and I want it to be within 0.1 of where I've set it. So 4 watts. We're now on channel 40, 4 watts, and we're now on channel 1, 4 watts. Go to the top of the class and jump off. Right, current consumption is now 1.097. We've not gone up a lot, have we, for an extra watt? Low power should be 400 milliwatts. Usually these presets are dirty, and if the feature's been used a lot in low power, well, the preset has a tendency to crack. So we'll just waggle that about and work it in, and then we'll reset that to hopefully 400. Yeah, it's nice and smooth. There's no reason for it not to be okay cleaned. It's now 400 milliwatts. So we can't do deviation next because I've not turned the other test set on. So the AGC one, I want to the central position. I've covered this discussion before. The European version of this chassis doesn't have this vertical preset. It has a fixed resistor in that position. I've measured that fixed resistor. I've checked that fixed resistor. I've checked where this is supposed to be in the two equal. So I prefer to have it just in the central position. I can't see why there should be such a I'm going to use the word deviation, but I'm not talking about FM deviation. Why there should be such a variation needed, unless they had some components which weren't as good a tolerance as they ought to be. That's all I can think. I'll tell you what, we'll set the deviation on this test set. We do use the oscillator when it's prolonged, but wallow. That's about where it should be according to this test set. When the other test set warms up, we'll go over to that one. So we'll skip that for now. So on transmits, we know it's doing 4 watts, so we'll key up, want the meter to say 4 watts on normal power. So it's now reading 5. So we'll just calibrate that. Except the tools popped out. So remember, this is into a dummy load. If you can't read it, you can't read power into an aerial because it's relative to your SWR, etc. When we do the on the air test, the meter may just read 1. The meter may swing across. It may say 4. Might say anything because it doesn't mean we're doing any different power. This radio is doing 4 watts. Okay, move over to receive. Make sure the signal generator is on frequency. Oscilloscope on. Put 100 microvolts on the signal generator. And we're going to make sure that the FM detector is in the correct position. Let's switch the appropriate camera on so we see the oscilloscope. So I need to do maximum recovered audio. Was 99.9% there, just got that to a peak. If you get it wrong one way, you're going to end up with quiet audio, and that's people talking. You'll hear the background hiss, but not the people won't be loud. And if you get it the other way, well, they'll be garbled. Might sound a bit like a Dalek though. Right, let's go to the SINAD meter, which is waltzing around. I think the mice have pushed something. Oh, there's bird poo on my clock. Where's that come from? Yeah. We've got birds sneaking in here at night. So, over to the SINAD meter, and we're going to put about a signal of about 4 dB on that meter. So we can only just hear the tone. So we're not saturating the SINAD meter. So it's signal to noise ratio. We're trying to pull this tone out of the noise. Start with this coil. The front end, as it's called. Look at that improving. Worse, better, worse again. So there's our peak. Next one. Just drop the attenuator so we go there to the right a bit more. Tiny fraction there. tiny fraction there. These all add up. Now we need a bit more signals to do the IF, the intermediate frequency. You've got a 455 kilohertz intermediate frequency. You've got a 10.695 megahertz intermediate frequency. Weren't they clever in the 1930s inventing super heterodynes? Tiny fraction there. Tiny fraction there. Tiny fraction there. Everything's been a tiny fraction apart from that, which was quite a bit. So if you buy the base station version of the Cybernet 134, like the Midland 76900, or the Harrier CBHQ, or the York JCB863, then you get an extra coil in that circuit, which is to do with selectivity. If you buy a lower in the range set which uses this chassis, like the Rotel RVC220, the York 861, or the Binatone Speedway, then you don't get this circuit. It's again to do with selectivity. But the receive and transmitter are exactly the same. It's just, as you pay more, you just get a little bit less bleed over possibility. That's all it's about. And where we live, it makes no difference. Right, so let's get a new reading. It's going to be pretty hot, I think. Yeah, wow. 0.2. I'm going to do 20 next. 0.44. Now, we're between ranges. If I go down to 10, I've just gone under the 2. If I switch to the next scale, it still says 2. So it is slightly less than 2, but it's that point at which we can't measure properly on this test set. It's probably 0.195 or something like that. There we go. Well, that's really, really good. You only normally get this on Binatone 5 stars. So, this will do scratchy corner a treat. Meter. Let's put 100 microvolts on the signal generator. Show you the attenuator position. 100. We want exactly S9 on the meter. Now look, it's come up because when I tested it before, it's now over S9. So it's been a bit generous. So the reading now we're getting to get S9 is 76 microvolts, 0.76. I'll start again. The reading we're now getting is 76 microvolts. Before it was 24 microvolts. So it's come up dramatically. Anyway, we'll calibrate this to 100. There we are on 100, so that's good. That just leaves the squelch. Now that may have changed itself as well. So I'm going to put the squelch to full. No, it hasn't. So I'm going to turn the squelch preset till the noise disappears. And then we're going to put the attenuator to 100. It comes in as 100, which is exactly what I want. Now we're going to turn the squelch control with the signal generator in standby just to threshold. By the way, if we had this tone control in mid or low, we'd get an even better SINAD position. I'll show you, because it takes away some of the noise. It doesn't mean the set's any more sensitive, it just takes away some of the noise. Right, we've got thresholds, which is signal generator back on, and our new squelch threshold is 0.59. So that's all how it should be. I've just got deviation to show to you. I'm going to just show you this. I'm going to go on to the other scale, which we don't normally use. Go back to the SINAD meter. I'm not an experimenter, but I just want you to see this. So you can see we've got 12 dB absolutely more or less steady on there. Let's take the tone to medium. We could now just back off the attenuator slightly. Now let's take it to low. Now that has made it worse. So in the medium position, it looks slightly more sensitive than in the high position, but the low position is slightly worse. So on these sets, medium would be the absolute optimum sensitivity, but it's so marginal that I've shown you. Right, we're done, apart from deviation. Let's just see whether we've got enough of a warm-up on the test set behind me. Switch picture-in-picture off. So we're done with that. So by the time we've done another York 863 on Tuesday, you'll be sick of the sight of them. Right. It's on the test set behind me, so I can't show you. Well, it's slightly low. I'm then going to take a break to make sure this is correct. Low. So we'll take a break at that point, and I'll come back in 20 minutes. Right, well, I've just checked it with the test set behind me. Made a slight adjustment. Let's just go back to this test set, see what it says. Wow, it's about there, yeah. It's about where it is. It was saying 2.6 on there. But I'm sure we are where we are. Right. Well, as far as I can see, that's working really well. From cold, yeah, it's just over the 4 watts. Brilliant. I'll get the lids back on it. I've just been waiting for a parcel which contains the next York 863. It's a Saturday today, and the customer has paid a lot of money to have it delivered on a Saturday. And when we looked at the tracking for this parcel this morning, which started off about 8:45 in the morning, it was drop 78, and Mr. Chippy came in and said, oh, I said, that York 863's on its way. I said, it's parcel number 78. He said, oh, well, that won't turn up. They'll have come up with an excuse by then. Got to 74, and it said, parcel refused. And we've looked at the tracking, and the parcel was refused 2 miles away at the village of Carlton Screw. Well, there you go. BS. When DHL took over from Royal Mail for RS components deliveries, I was weeks not getting anything. And we got to a stage where something urgent. I had to go to the place in the RS trade counter in Nottingham and pick something up personally when we've already paid to have it delivered. We were spending £1,000 a month with RS, and now we're spending about £120 a month with RS because we've found other suppliers. And we're not going back, you know, I've found other suppliers because of DHL. So it's all right looking, you know, they're saving this, that and the other on postage, but the business of loss must be tremendous. And you know, the next danger now with the York 863 in a box, which is coming, is will they lose it? And there you go. So clearly they're not allowed to say ran out of time, want to go home, can't find address. They're obviously not allowed to put that down. But with these RS ones, I got them to send a manager out from DHL at Worksop personally in his car to bring the missing parcels. Funny how he could find the place. So we're on 19 for the centre of worst possible activity. 1 Anna Roger. Wow. Roger. I just put it on 40 because what's wrong one? Because when we started off, before I did the VCO, it was reluctant to transmit on 40. Yeah, that's sorted. Right, we're doing on-the-air test with this immaculate radio, and it's got incredible receive. Thanks for watching.